Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
We'll give it one more minute before we get started.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Okay. I know many devotees are still joining, but just to honor the time, it's 7 Eastern. So we will get started. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. Bahari Prabhuji will not be able to make it today, but we have a special guest speaker with us. So Bhakti Vinod Prabhu is going to be taking and anchoring today's class. So thank you so much, Bhakti Vinod Prabhuji, for giving us your auspicious association and taking up this service. And before we get started, I wanted to give a quick introduction of Prabhuji. So Bhaktivedanta Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj, and he got his initiation in year 2022, and he has been practicing bhakti starting 2017. And I think it was in 2022 itself, Prabhuji, that you got your Bhakti Shastri certification also under Bahari Prabhuji. And Prabhuji lives in Florida, I think the Fort Lauderdale region, and he loves reading, very scholarly by nature. He loves reading text and helping with the new temple construction over there. And he also happens to be the mentor for Aniruddha Group. So that was a brief. And Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, anything that you want to add that I might have missed?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, thank you for taking this service and keep the program going. So today's agenda, I think we have a group presentation from Aniruddha Group. After that, we will do a brief Q&A on the chapter 7. And then we will deep dive into the chapter 8 summary by Bhakti Vinod Prabhu. So without further ado, I would invite Anuruddha Group for their group presentation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we are waiting for Bindu Mataji Prabhu. I don't know whether she will join or no, but I'm just checking with her, like, so if she's not able to join.
Right, Prabhu. Bindu Mataji is on. I believe so. You're on mute, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I'm here, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Let me share the screen. I hope everybody can see this. Please do let me know.
Yep, we can see your screen, Mataji.
Thank you so much. So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, where we're covering verses 7 to 12. And we are discussing the impact of Krishna in our everyday lives. So I'll go ahead with the presentation. This presentation is a play between three friends, Riya, Meera, and Arjun, where they discuss how the chapter 7 and specifically the verses 7 to 12 can be applied, and we can appreciate Lord Krishna in our everyday lives. So I would be starting in as Ria. So this is slide number 1. We just studied Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 7 to 12. I never realized that Krishna gives us so many ways to remember him throughout the day.
Hey Krishna, me too. The purpose explains that Krishna has kindly made himself easy to remember through his different energies. He says, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, just as pearls are strung on a thread. We don't usually notice the thread in a necklace, but without it, the pearls would fall apart. In the same way, we may not always see Krishna directly, but everything exists because of him.
Hare Krishna. That made me think about electricity. We do not actually see electricity flowing, but because of it, our lights, fans, computers, and phones all work similarly. Krishna is supporting everything, even though we may not see him with our eyes.
I love the verse where Krishna says, I am the taste of water. Every time I drink a glass of cold water after playing outside or after a long day, I can pause for a moment and think, thank you, Krishna, for satisfying my thirst. Something so ordinary becomes an opportunity to remember him.
And every morning, when the sun rises, or at night, when we enjoy the moonlight, we can remember that Krishna says He is their light. The purpose explains that these wonderful features of nature remind us of the Supreme Lord, who is the source of all beauty and energy.
Last week, after it rained, I noticed the wonderful smell of the earth. I remember Krishna's word, I am the original fragrance of the earth. Instead of just saying that smells nice, I thought that this fragrance is another reminder of Krishna's presence.
Krishna also says he is the sound in ether. Whenever we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, hear devotional kirtan, or even speak words that encourage others, we can remember that the ability to produce sound is his gift.
Another point from the purport that touched me was that Krishna is the life of all living beings. When I see birds flying, trees growing, playing, or even a tiny ant carrying food, I can remember that the life within every living being comes from Krishna.
I like the verse where Krishna says, He is the strength of the strong, free from selfish desire and passion. If someone wins a race or lift heavy weights, they should not become proud. Instead, they can think, Krishna has given me this strength, so I should use it to help others and serve him.
That's right. He also says he is the intelligence of the intelligent and the brilliance of the brilliant. Now, when we understand a difficult lesson at school, solve a challenging math problem, or learn a new skill, instead of thinking, I did it all by myself, we can be grateful to Krishna for giving us intelligence.
The purpose explains that all attractive qualities and abilities originate from Krishna. Whenever beauty, strength, intelligence, or talent we see in this world is only a small reflection of his unlimited qualities.
So, remembering Krishna does not only happen during worship. It can happen while drinking water, walking outside, studying, playing sports, listening to birds, watching the sunrise, smell flowers, or helping someone. Every moment becomes a remember of him, Krishna.
That's the wonderful message of these verses. Krishna is everywhere through his energies.
When we recognize his presence in everything around us and thank him for his gifts,
Our daily life becomes filled with remembrance, gratitude, and devotion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji and Prabhuji's, for a wonderful presentation. Very nice practical examples. And yes, Krishna is omnipresent everywhere. We just need the eyes to see it. So thanks for explaining that with right examples. Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, any thoughts, comments on the feedback on the class, on the presentation?
Yeah, it was very sweet thinking about that verse in the 7th chapter where we Prabhupada translate this as the numinous energy of Krishna. So he not only brought about the spiritual, and he of course is the master of the spiritual and the material energies, but his personality and sweetness, when we look at these different examples, it churns something in us saying, how can we remember Krishna? And that gives a glimpse into his personality, how sweet, how magnanimous. Like there's so many adjectives we can use, like even Ananta Chase cannot glorify the Lord, even though he has thousands of words. So very well done, Aniruddha Group, wonderfully done. Thank you.
Prabhu.
Yeah, I was also appreciating Krishna for his mercy that he is revealing himself to us. Otherwise, it's very difficult to know and exercise this. So it's his magnanimousness that he is revealing us to us in everyday life, in every small thing that we do. So thank you once again, Anirudh Group. Our next section is the Q&A, and I would request devotees to please raise their hands based on their study of chapter 7 if they have any questions, and Bhaktivinoda Prabhu will be taking up the questions.
Mita Mataji, yes, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We had a question about Brahma Jyoti. And what is the extent of this Brahma Jyoti? Like when we study the spiritual world, the material world, we know that it's, Brahma and Brahma Jyoti is the same thing. It emanates from Sri Krishna. The question was, does it end at the end of the spiritual world, or is it something that's all over, even within the material world? Just a clarification on that.
Yeah,
Whether it,
so yeah, I will
just for our
share.
understanding.
So everything is Brahman, right? The Jivas, everything is Brahman. But Brahma Jyoti specifically is the effulgence of the Lord. And I will share my screen. Let me just pull up to explain the Goloka chart. Blown up, so I'll have to just make it a little smaller. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this is one universe, and you see Karanadaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu, right? Lying there. Through his glance, he's impregnating Maya Devi, and all this is where we are in the one of the universe in the Burloka. So this is material universe, right? There is the Karana ocean or the Viraja river, and beyond that is the Brahma Jyoti, right? So that extends all over the spiritual universes, right? So this bottom part is called Devi Dham, right? This is the dham for goddess Durga. Then there's the Mahesh Dham. This is there in Brahma Samhita, and this is the Hari Dham, the abode of Hari, where you have the Vaikuntha planets. Then you have Ayodhya, you have Dwarka, Jagannath Puri, Mathura, and then Krishna Loka or Golok Vrindavan. But Brahmajyoti is extending from here down below, where after the Virajarva, all over to the spiritual world. Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, thank you. So it's not in the material world, just clarifying that aspect.
It's not in.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else? Yes, Nikita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So it is mentioned in various purports that if one remembers Krishna at the time of death, he attains his abode. Now the process of bhakti, we follow different activities like dressing the deities, offering bhoga, or worshipping Tulsi Maharani, etc. So at the time of death, one might not remember actually Krishna himself, but the other paraphernalias like Tulsi Devi or japa beads, etc. So how does that work? Like we didn't remember Krishna at the time of death, but we remembered Tulsi Maharani or japa beads. What happens then?
That's a good question. I think one of the aspects, one of the Prabhupada's disciple had asked, if you don't remember Krishna, but you remember you, Prabhupada, then what will happen? And Prabhupada said that you will go back to Godhead. But I don't know the specific answer to your question saying, what if you remember japa beads, or what if you remember? I think it should still take you to because they are connected to Krishna, but I don't want to speculate. Probably will take it to by Hari Prabhu and see what he says.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
and my understanding, just to add on Bhakti Vinod Prabhuji's point, I agree with that the paraphernalia of Krishna is in a way helping us remember Krishna. And I think one of the topics of chapter 8 that Prabhuji will take today is remembering Krishna. So how can we remember Krishna? So definitely the pure devotees of Krishna like Tulsi Maharani is reminding us of Krishna. And definitely with these devotional practices, we will be able to remember Krishna and go back to the Goloka.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very good. Yes, Amit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So, as Krishna mentioned about the humanities, so what is the greatest problem of the day? Is the lack of knowledge or the lack of realization?
So can you say that again?
Yeah, so in the current modern world, so what is the greatest problem right now? It is the lack of knowledge or it is the lack of realization?
It is ignorance. Realization will come later. Realization is Vigyan. First, we have to know what is the purpose of our life. Why do we exist? Right? Like, who is God? What am I? The existential questions we have to understand. We might know that we are not the body but the soul, but have we realized it? That's a secondary level. Right? Vigyan comes later. First, we have to know the Gyan. Right? So ignorance. So in Buddhism, they say the root cause of misery is desires. Right? You get rid of desires, and you become shunya. I shouldn't have any desire. I don't want to eat good food. I don't want to do this, and then you stay in the moment, and then you go beyond the moment, and you achieve nirvana. That is the Buddhism philosophy. But our Vaishnava philosophy is we are miserable because we are ignorant. The root cause of misery is ignorance, not desires. Because through Yukta Vairagya, we can dovetail our desires towards Krishna consciousness. Then it's not a source of misery, it's a source of bliss, it's a source of happiness. Does that make sense, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Okay, then I think, oh yes, Akhila Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, can you come closer to the mic? I'm barely able to hear you.
Can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes, it's much better.
So the primary cause that we actually fell is we had a desire
To
to
Lord.
to be to enjoy independent of Krishna, right? So can I mean, this is just for me, when like I like when I'm thinking, that itself is ignorance, correct? So can I understand it that way? So
Yes.
even in that sense, ignorance actually tops it up. Then
Yes.
because of that ignorance, I am getting the desire to be wanting to enjoy separate from Krishna. Is that right understanding, Prabhu?
That is right understanding. We see teenagers, right? As parents might be telling teenagers, don't do this, don't do that. And they might rebel. Why my parents are trying to control me? They don't understand the Gen Z or Gen Alpha or whatnot, right? So they are ignorant at that time. Similarly, Krishna says, stay with me. But he said, no, we want to enjoy independently. Why should I just serve you? I want to enjoy by myself. So as we don't have that knowledge, that we have that ignorance. Okay, we want to just enjoy by ourselves. And it's okay. Krishna fulfills our desires because he's our father. He gives that mechanism, this port created, superintended by Durga Devi. This is the material world, right? Go ahead and enjoy. And then we, after births and births, we realize, okay, this is a jail. We want to get out of this jail.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I think we can get ahead. Started with the chapter 8. Let me share my screen. After the prayers, Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, devotees. Thank you to Bhai Hari Prabhu for giving me this opportunity, for giving me this service. So I'm not qualified. I will make an attempt. So please forgive me if I make mistakes. Just take the essence. And if I say something which touches your heart, it's just basically coming from my guru, my elder Vaishnavas. So we're going to do the summary of chapter 8. Attaining the Supreme. So again, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls this chapter, it's called Yoga Mishra Bhakti, right? So in the chapter 7, we had seen different kinds of yogas. We had seen the Karma Mishra Bhakti, we had seen the Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and we also had seen a Kevala Bhakti, Mokshakami Bhakti. Meaning, when I'm saying these words, right, Karma Mishra, meaning Bhakti is there, predominant, but it's not pure. It mixed with something, karma, right? So it's not pure. There's a tinge of karma in that, right? When in chapter 7, Krishna said that there are the 4 kinds of devotees who are dear to him, and he gives the artha, the artharthi, and the jigyasu, meaning the ones who are distressed, and they're distressed, so that's why they turn to God, or they want money, they would turn to God, or they are jnanis and they're looking for knowledge of Krishna. So that is knowledge of Krishna, so Jnana Mishra. The knowledge is there along with bhakti, and then and other aspects of the karma. So this chapter is about Yoga Mishra. There is part of pure bhakti also. It's also Yoga Mishra, meaning we will see Chakra Yoga. It's there in this chapter. This chapter is divided into 6 sections. First section is talking about the Arjuna is going to ask questions, then Krishna is going to answer them. These questions stem from the verses Krishna spoke in the chapter 7, and these were the last 2 verses he spoke, so we'll talk about that. And then a very important piece where we know we need to learn remembering Krishna at the time of death. And there was already a question about this today, right? So even in chapter 7, Krishna had alluded to this. So this is like our final exam. This is our final test in this lifetime, right? So remembering Krishna at the time of death, that's verses 5 through 8. Then, okay, yes, Krishna emphasizes that we have to remember at the time of death, but how do we do that? There are 2 paths in this chapter. It's Yoga Mishra Bhakti through the Satya Chakra yoga. How can we remember Krishna? What are the prerequisites for that kind of yoga? And then remembering Krishna by pure bhakti, Kevala Bhakti. That's in verses 14 to 16. And then Krishna says that, okay, he then goes in to say that if we do pure bhakti, we go to the spiritual world, and the spiritual world is eternal. It's different than the material world, where even Brahmaji, who is at the top of, is at the Brahmalok, that is still in the material world, and he contrasts material world and the spiritual world in verses 17 to 22, and then he talks about supremacy of pure bhakti in attaining Krishna. And I had seen that question in the chat about the Golaka chart. I will pass it over to Rupa Raghunath Prabhu, and he can pass it on to the group. So these are the 6 sections. So in the last 2 verses of chapter 7, Arjuna heard these terms. What is Brahman? What is Adhyatma? What the karma, Adibhuta, Adideva, Adiyagya, and how is Adiyagya in the body? And then Krishna had also used the word Prayanakali, meaning at the time of death. Krishna had mentioned that those who know him and take his shelter, and they know him as Adibhuta or Adideva or Adiyagya, they're actually Brahman, right? And so he's used these terminologies. So he's asking these questions in the first 2 verses. What is Brahman, right? Basically, he's trying to clarify when he says Brahman, is it the Jiva or is it the Lord? Again, the word in Sanskrit one word can have multiple meanings, right? Here, the word Brahman means the Jiva, the living entity, the Anu part, not the Vibhu part, because when we see the Lord, of course, it's Brahman also denotes God sometimes, but we have to look at the context. So Param Brahman is Krishna, right? So here when Krishna spoke the word Brahman, it is referring to the Jiva, and Prabhupada has given that definition, the indestructible. We cannot destroy it. It's Aksharam, transcendental living entity separate from the material body, the soul, the Atma, right? That is us, the living entity. That is Brahman. Then the other question he asked is, what is Adhyatma? Because he used that word in chapter 7, and Krishna says that is a svabhav, that is our nature, that living entities has gone through many millions of births, and those millions of births has given him impressions, And then through those impressions, he does activities. His body is governed by those activities. That's swabhava, those impressions. That is adhyatma. Then the third question is karma, because Krishna used the word karma there in the last two verses. And the answer given is because of this karma. Again, karma is like a one word which has so many meanings, right? You can say, if something bad happens, oh, that's your karma, right? And there's so many words. Like, I think in Sanskrit, there are words which has hundreds of meanings, right? In English languages, the word run, I'm running, or he's running away from his responsibilities. There are two different meanings of that, right? Run has so many hundreds of meanings too. So here, karma is explained like because of those actions, those activities we do. So again, there was the question of lording over the material world. So the jiva is trying to lord over the world. Those activities, they decide which next body we are going to take, right? We are transformed by migrating from one body to another body. So what decides that? Our karma, right? So that is karma. That is one definition. Of course, there are other definitions also, but this is one definition which Krishna gave. And again, Krishna is very terse and he's to the point, and he's trying to explain those definitions so that it's going to help Arjun in his further questioning or his understanding why he's using those words to build upon the major section in this chapter is like, how do we remember Krishna at the time of death? That's how he's answering these questions. Then the other question was, what is Adi Bhuta? So Adi Bhuta is this Prakriti, right? This Prakriti is constantly changing. And our material body, Prabhupada gives this example, right? There are 6 transformations. We take birth, we grow, then we have bodily transformations, byproducts, then diseases, and die. So that is Adi Bhuta, right? The word Adi means the controller, right? So Krishna is the controller of Prakriti. Krishna is the controller of Adideva. Krishna is the controller of Adi again. But the word itself there, Adibhuta, is Prakriti. Prakriti is changing, but actually, who is Adibhuta is Krishna, right? Then Adideva is Krishna, Prakriti, because Prakriti is Krishna's energy. Adideva, Krishna says, like, Deva means the Devatas. So who is control of the Devatas? The Virat Purusha, the universal form of the Lord. Because in that gigantic universal form, all the demigods, all the Devatas and the planets are in there. Then the question is Adi Yagya. Who is Adi Yagya, right? Because we do sacrifices, fire sacrifices. So Arjuna was thinking, who is the controller of the sacrifices? Is it Indra? Is it somebody else? Is it Vishnu? So Krishna says it is Paramatma. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Because in chapter 5, the last verse also says, Bhoktaram Yagatapsam, that all the sacrifices are for him. So he says, Krishna, he is that Adi Yagya. And then Arjuna asks, how is this Adi Yagya known in the body? Krishna answers that he is present in the heart of every embodied living being, and he inspires them to do sacrifices and other acts. So these were the main 7 questions. And then Arjuna asked the most important question, how do we know you at the point of death? Right? This is the main subject for the rest of the chapter. Right? So we'll move on. So these were the first 4 verses. Then the most famous verse from this chapter, right? This is verse number 5, says, Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram ye prayati samadbhavam yati naste atra samshaya. So Krishna says, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature, the supreme destination of there is no doubt. Atra samshaya, there is no doubt. Right? So this is the final test. How can we remember Krishna at the time of death? If we remember Krishna at the time of death, we're going to attain him. So somebody might say, oh, it's easy. I don't need to chant 16 rounds every day. I know this process. when I'm dying, I'm just gonna just say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But that's not easy. When we are going through that pain, it's like 40,000 scorpions biting us. We cannot just remember Krishna. We will be, the things which we are attached to, those things we will remember. If we if we take the example of Bharat Maharaj, right? Bharat Maharaj was the son of Rishabdev. So exalted, he was at the level of bhava, right? The different stages of bhakti. The final stage is prema, before that is bhava. He was at the stage of bhava. And he went to the forest, was doing his sadhana very nicely, all spiritual practices. And then he sees a mother deer jumping because it was going to be attacked by a lion. And there is she was pregnant, baby deer is born, and the mother deer dies. Bharat Maharaj says, I need to take care of this deer, and he gets so attached that he raises that deer and he forgets his spiritual practices. His mind is attached to a deer. And at the time of death, he was thinking about the deer because the deer was lost. He was thinking about the deer. And what does he get in the next life? The body of a deer. Right? So we have to understand, it's even from that stage of bhava he fell. Again, there's this reason the acharyas gave that because he committed an aparadh. They didn't specify what aparadh did he do, but through aparadh he fell down from that exalted stage. So wherever our mind is, this is where our if we are attached to something, this is where when we die, our mind will take us to that next body. But Krishna at the time of death, that's where it's a practice. It's a lifelong practice where we, through our Shravanam, Kirtanam, all the 9 processes of bhakti, we develop that we try to see Krishna everywhere. We think of Krishna all the time. That's where, because if it's a practice, then what we are attached to, we will think of Krishna at the time of death. It's not like, okay, somebody can put a gun on my head, think of Krishna, and he will go back. No, or somebody can put a picture of Krishna at the time of death, and he will go back. No, right? We have to have that attachment to Krishna. Then he gives the specific thing, right? Remembering Krishna at death. And then in the verse 6, he says the general law, right? Okay, if you're not thinking of Krishna, but whatever one remembers when leaving the body, O son of Kunti, he will surely attain a state similar to that object of constant thought, right? Yam Yam Vapi, again, a famous verse. Whatever our state of mind is at that time, we will attain that. So somebody is so attached to eating meat, and Krishna might think, okay, you don't need a body of a human for that. You might get a tiger's body in the next life. Or somebody likes to sleep a lot, and human body is for self-realization. You don't need a human body to sleep like 16 hours a day. We might get a body of a polar bear then, right? Because we are attached to sleeping. Right? And Krishna gives what we desire and what we deserve. He's our father, right? So then Krishna talks about this general law of destination after death. Then Krishna says, okay, then Arjun might think, okay, I now know I need to just think about Krishna all the time. I'll go to the forest and just chant Hare Krishna. That's what Krishna are you telling me, right? I'll go to the forest and chant Hare Krishna. Why do I need to be in the battlefield? Because the final test is to just remember Krishna, remember you. But the Krishna then says another famous verse, right? Ma manusmara yuddhacha. Krishna says, therefore, at all times you should think of me and do your prescribed duty of fighting. Shouldn't give up your prescribed duty. Ma manusmara, you remember me, yuddhacha, and fight. This is a big lesson for us. And again, it's not easy. While we are doing our activities, while we are working in our professional life, while we are taking care of children, while we're taking care of our parents, we think of Krishna because they're also Krishna's children. Why we are doing the work? So that we can feed our Krishna conscious family, because the family is also, the family members are also the Ansha of Krishna. They are also the children of Krishna. So Krishna is saying, don't forget your prescribed duties, But while doing your prescribed duties, you think of Krishna. And again, it's a practice. It's not like a switch on or off switch. We have to gradually increase that remembrance of Krishna. And smaranam is a word where it's so many times in the Bhagavad Gita. And the best example of smaranam is Prahlad Maharaj. We see Prahlad Maharaj, he went through so much tribulations, but he never deviated. He was always thinking of Krishna. He was always thinking of Vishnu. And see, the Lord came from the pillar to protect him. And then Krishna says that he who practices to meditate with undeviated mind and consciousness, Chetasa Ananya Gamina, with undeviated mind and consciousness upon me, the supreme transcendental person attains me by such constant thinking of me. If he can remember Krishna constantly, I'm not there. Many of you might not be there, but this is the essence. We have to remember Krishna constantly, right? Then we can attain him. So the Arjun might be thinking, okay, you're telling me to remember you all the time. How do I do that? So then Krishna talks about two paths, right? So from verses 9 to 13, he's saying, I'm just checking the time. Okay, we have time. So he's talking through the Yoga Mishra Bhakti, right? It's not pure Bhakti, but it is Yoga Mishra. Bhakti is there, predominant, but the yoga is there. So here in this specific example, the Sat Chakra Yoga. So he says in the verse 9 that remember me as Kavim, as the omniscient, that he knows the past, present, and future. Remember Krishna as the Puranam. He's the oldest. Again, even though he's the oldest, he's not having a beard or he's an old person. He's always Navayovanam, right? He's a 16-year-old youth. So he is Puranam. He's the oldest. He's beginningless. He's the controller of everything. He's smaller than the smallest. So we have to remember these aspects of Krishna. He's the maintainer of everything. He's inconceivable. He has a rupam. He has a beautiful form, right? Krishna, he says this in Bhagavad Gita that he has a rupam. So the impersonal who says that Krishna doesn't have a form is right there. He has a form. He's Aditya Varnam. He's luminous. He's effulgent like the sun and self-revealing. And he's transcendental to material nature, full of ignorance. So these are the 9 ways of remembering Krishna. These are the 9 things he says. I'm the omniscient, I'm the beginningless. We need to remember those qualities of Krishna in this process. Then Krishna says that remembering these qualities of Krishna, one who at the time of death fixes his life air, the pranas, we have the 10 life air pranas in our body, then he lifts the prana from, if you see the 6 chakras, right? The Mooladhara is the bottommost chakra, then it goes up and up, the Ajnana chakra. So lifting the life air to the Ajnana chakra, to between the eyebrows. And by the strength of yoga, he remembers the Supreme Lord in full devotion. If he remembers the Supreme Lord and he gets the chakra to the Ajna chakra, to between the eyebrows, then that yogi will certainly attain him, right? So Arjun said, I don't know how to get to my chakras, to the Ajna chakra, to the topmost chakra. How do I do that? What are the requirements? So then Krishna says, the requirements for Satya Chakra yoga is you should have no attachments. You should be renounced. You should be renunciate. And that's what makes this kind of practice difficult in Kali Yuga. You're all attached to our house, to our kids, and this and that, right? So he says the requirements for Satya Chakra yoga is renunciation, vitaraga, celibacy, brahmacharya, knowledge of the Vedas, again, very difficult. Knowledge of the Vedas in this age when so much part of Vedas is lost, and uttering Om. So these are the 4 things: renunciation, celibacy, knowledge of the Vedas, and uttering Om. And what will I get if I do all this? We will get an entrance or liberation into Brahman, into the Brahma Jyoti. So these were the requirements. And how do I do it? What's the process? The closing all the doors of the senses, like in Ashtanga Yoga in chapter 6, right? We had the 6 or the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, right? Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Asana, and then Pratyahara. Pratyahara was the 5th one, where we have to withdraw all our senses. Same thing, closing all the doors of senses. Pratyahara, we have to do. We have to remove all sense gratification, fix the mind on the heart, fixing the prana on the top of the head, right? And taking shelter of Krishna completely, right? And vibrating the sacred syllable Om. And if we are thinking of Krishna and we quit the body, right? When they quit the body, this yogi, then he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. Again, if he's thinking of Krishna as a person, he will go to the spiritual planets. If he's thinking Krishna as impersonal, he will go to the Brahmajyoti, right? So that is verses 9 to 13 is how we can remember Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakti, right? So let's move on to the next section. This is the section for us, remembering Krishna by pure bhakti, right? So Krishna here says that without deviation of the mind, right? Ananya Cheta Satatam, constantly. Ananya, no other person, just Krishna, right? The devotee who always remembers him exclusively, for him, I am very easy to obtain, O Partha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Why does it use the word Sulabha Partha? Sulabha means easy to obtain. Why? Because Krishna is helping him. In the yoga practice, we have to do ourselves. We have to be renounced. We have to maintain celibacy. We have to do all those other things. But here, if we fix our mind on Krishna as a person, Krishna is helping us, right? It's coming from the top. It's a descending process, right? So that is why this path of bhakti is sulabha. It's easier, right? So in the other paths, the karmis have in the other paths, there is some self-interest. Here, the pure bhakta is just looking to please the Lord. There's no selfishness. There is selflessness. That is why Krishna is helping us, right? He's selfless and they desire nothing but Krishna's service. That is why he's Nishkama Bhakta. So he can attain Krishna easily because he's not desiring something for himself. And then Krishna says there is no rebirth for pure devotee, right? They never take birth again in this temporary world, which is full of miseries. Again, another famous verse, 15th verse, where Prabhupada has used this phrase a lot of times, Dukkhalayam ashashvatam, right? The pure devotees do not come to this world, which is temporary and full of miseries. Alayam, the word alayam means a house or a place, right? Vidyalaya means a place where teaching, vidya, is being given, or teaching is where the children are being taught. Dukkhalayam means it's a house of miseries, right? Ashashvata meaning it's temporary. So Krishna is saying that pure devotees, they never take birth again and they don't come back to this temporary world, which is full of miseries. And these great souls never return to this world having attained the highest goal of personal service to Krishna. Then Krishna says that even if you go to the Brahmalok, which is the highest planet in the material world, where Brahmaji is there, you still have to take birth and death again, right? He says everyone in all planets up to Brahmaloka take repeated birth and death, even if this pious, right? In the material world, everybody has to go through this cycle. But one who attains Krishna's abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So he's telling that if we go to the spiritual world, we will not fall back. We will go there permanently, right? So this is where now he contrasts. So he's saying, okay, so this is why we need to go back to the spiritual world. We need to go back to the original world, original home. We say sometimes there's a debate, right? There are aliens. Are there aliens? Actually, there are. We are the aliens. We don't belong here, right? We belong with Krishna, right? So we live in this world, but we are not of this world. right? So he's now contrasting the material world and the spiritual world, right? He says that Brahma's one day is 1,000 yuga cycles, and one yuga is the summation of Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga, right? So one Brahma's day is that 1,000 yuga cycles, and his night is the same duration, right? So if I given some math here, right? So Satya Yuga, or like Kali Yuga, is 432,000 years, right? So say they call that K. Dwapar Yuga is twice that number. Treta Yuga is thrice that number. Satya Yuga is 4 times that number. So one Mahayuga or one Diva Yuga is the summation of that. That is 10,000 or 10K, right? And one Manvantra, the rule of a Manu, is 71 Mahayugas, meaning 71 Mahayugas, 71 times Satyug comes, 71 times Treta Yuga comes, and all those yugas will come for one Manu's reign. And then the Manu will change. So after each Manvantra, there is a period of a Sandhya Kal. That is 4 times, that is like a period of Satyuga. So Brahmaji lives, in one day of Brahmaji, there is 14 Manvantras, 14 Manus come. And then there is a period of Sandhya, like before one Manu changes and the other Manu comes, there is a period called the Sandhya in between, right? And that, so one day of Brahma is 1,000 Mahayugas, that calculation is given. So one day is 4.32 billion human years, one night is 4.32 billion human years. And if we do that calculation, 1 year is 3.11 trillion human years, and one life of Brahma is 100 Brahma years, which is 311 trillion human years. This is mind-boggling numbers. I don't even know how many zeros to put, but still, Brahmaji at the time of death, again, is not like usually Brahmaji is a very exalted devotee of the Lord. He goes back to Godhead because he has done so much service, but here the possibility is like even people in the heavenly planets go through birth, death cycles, right? Even though they're living for so many years, but still the life and death, because when Hiranyakashipu asked Brahmaji, can you give me immortality? Brahmaji said, no, I myself am not immortal. I cannot give you immortality, right? So this is what is being discussed in this verses 17 to 22, right? And then Krishna says that at the beginning of Brahma's days, all the living entities become manifest, right? So what happens is during the night of Brahma, in the lower planetary systems, the living entities go back to kind of a coma state, susupti state. They go back to the stomach, the belly of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. They are unmanifested. You don't see the bodies of they have the subtle body, they have the mind, intelligence, and false ego, but they don't see the physical bodies because everything is annihilated in the lower planetary systems. Only a few planetary systems in the upper world, they still exist, but the lower planetary systems during the time of Brahma, they are destroyed, they are annihilated. So the living entities in those planetary systems are unmanifest. And when Brahmaji's day again happens, they are manifest, right? So they are forced to manifest and unmanifest. This manifest and unmanifest states of the material world is going on. Even the planetary systems are annihilated. So then Brahmaji has to create those planetary systems. But there is beyond this material world, there is the eternal spiritual world, the Vaikuntha and the Krishna Loka, right? That is this the unmanifest nature, because we cannot see that, right? Which is eternal, which is supreme, which is indestructible, and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter, right? Even though there's so many changes going on in this material world, there is this annihilation and there's creation, but the spiritual world is never annihilated. It is eternal, right? That's what Krishna says in verses 20 to 21. And that abode is attainable by Ananya Bhakti, pure Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti, right? Krishna says that that supreme person who is greater than all is attainable by unalloyed and undeviating devotion. Everything is situated within him. He's talking himself in the third person. Sometimes he does that. Krishna does that. Sometimes he says me, and sometimes he talks about the supreme person in the third person language. So he says he's all pervading, although he is present in his abode, right? So that was this section. Then we talk about the last section, right? And supremacy of pure bhakti in attaining Krishna, right? We have been talking about the Yoga Mishra Bhakti. So what are the requirements? Like, when should that Jnani or Yogi die? At what stages? At what are the ways they should leave the body so that they go to Brahma Jyoti? And it's complex, right? Krishna is saying that there are different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not return to this world, right? We say that this was an auspicious moment that person left this body, right? If the person is a yogi or a jnani and is leaving at the time of path of light, meaning it's an auspicious moment in light and fire. When we say light and fire, it's the duty of light, deity of fire, presiding deity of light, presiding deity of fire. So those are the sun god and the fire god. He leaves his body during the day in the Shukla Paksha, right? In the fortnight of waxing moon, not the waning moon, but the waxing moon in the Uttarayan, right? In the 6 months when the sun travels to the north. So these are the requirements. If he dies during this time, then he attains Brahma Jyoti. Whereas the karmis or the karmakandis, they die in this path of darkness, right? During the night time, during the smoke, again, the deity of smoke, the deity of night, in Krishna Paksha, meaning the fortnight of the waning moon, in Dakshinayanam, meaning in the 6 months when the sun travels to the south. Then, even though they are karmakandis and they did so much pious work, they will go to heaven and return back to the earth, right? So it's very difficult. How do you control your death, right? We have an example of Bhishma Pitama, who left his body at the time of Uttarayan. But what glory was that he had the fortune of seeing Krishna in his Parthasarthi form, where he loved that form of Krishna, where he could see Krishna holding the chariot. His Uttariya had fallen, and he was holding the chariot wheel, and he was going to attack Bhishma because Bhishma was fierce when he was fighting with Arjuna. And Bhishma Pitama remembers that form, that Parthasarthi form of Krishna, right? And he left his body during the time of Uttarayan, but he had this Ichha Mrityu that he could leave his body whenever he wanted, right? But he's a pure devotee of the Lord. He doesn't need to go at that particular time to attain Krishna's abode, right? So Arjuna is confused. How do I plan my death? How can I leave like this, right? Like it should be day, it should be during in the Shukla Paksha, in Uttarayan, auspicious moment. Otherwise, I'll come back. So Krishna says, yes, the devotees know these two paths, but they never bewildered. They are never confused. They've never worried about these, right? And because they are always fixed in devotion, their only aim is to please Krishna, right? And then Krishna says that these devotees, they surpass all of them. Like, people do study the Vedas, they will perform sacrifices, they will undergo austerities, they will give charity, and they will get all these pious results. But a devotee gets all of this already because he knows Krishna and his glories, and he performs devotional service. And that devotee already, because he's doing bhakti, is serving the Lord, he gets all these things already, the studies of Vedas, the sacrifices. He doesn't have to, because he's watering the roots. He's not watering the leaves or the fruits. He's watering the root. He's serving the Lord. He's serving his devotees. He's already getting all those things which other karmis or jnanis are getting. Because he's performing devotional service, he will attain the supreme eternal abode, right? That's how our bhakti yoga is superior to other yogas, and it's easier, right? This concludes our chapter 8. Okay, right on time, isn't it? Or Prabhu, we have time?
No, you are very good and right on time, Prabhu. But we do have some time if anybody wants to ask anything, or if you want to add anything, we can spend a few more minutes.
Okay. Yes. Akhila Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So is it that Lord Brahma always goes back to Godhead, like the whoever comes as Brahma?
That's what I've heard because he does so service, but I would like to confirm that with Bhai Hari Prabhu.
Okay, because in terms of, I mean, I know only this much, but in Brahma Vimohan Leela, he's doing that offense, right? So I don't know, like it's all my speculation. It's like even it can be a pastime or whatever. But for me,
Yes, it is a pastime, and also yes, and also he's doing that offense because when you are at that position, right, you're creating the whole world. You're supreme. Like all the demigods are coming to you for solutions. So it's easier to get proud and easier to get arrogant, and then easier to not understand that that the Supreme Lord can be a little boy who is eating with his left hands, and he's actually taking the food away from his friends and eating it. Because he was thinking, how can the Supreme Lord do this? Right? So of course it's a Leela, but it's also Krishna puts these devotees in certain situations to teach us that Krishna can come in those situations. But to your question, we will take that to Rupa Raghunath Prabhu. If you are taking those notes, we will try to confirm those. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Ashutosh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my obeisances. Question, post-liberation, can a jiva reappear in the material world? So coming back from the Brahmajyoti,
Yeah.
is that possible?
Yeah. Prabhupada mentioned this in multiple places, that because Brahmajyoti is like a coma, right? We have nothing to do. Om Shanti, 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 right? And then if we have the desire, like, I don't have nothing to do here, then we might desire to lord over something, like, I want to do something, I want to enjoy, and we will fall back to the material world. And that's why Prabhupada says that Brahmajyoti, that impersonalized path, is like a spiritual suicide. Right? He uses strong words, but we have to respect the impersonalists who are going to Brahmajyoti. They are at a very high level. They have realized that they are not the body, but soul, right? They are Atman. So that's a high realization, right? But again, if you are at that high level, why not take the next steps and go beyond Brahman, this realization, go to Bhagavan realization? Make sense, Prabhu?
Makes sense. Thank you, Prabhuji. So Brahman and Paramatma, are they covered in the same concept? Because somehow Paramatma, the super soul, is within every human. So one is formless. Even Paramatma, you will realize as a formless God within yourself. So the journey within. What do you think? Both Brahman and Paramatma are closely related or different?
So they are different. It's a higher stage where if you see Paramatma, you know the Lord is the form, but you're not actually able to serve him, right? You're just seeing in yourself. But when you see Dhruv Maharaj, he had Paramatma realization, but then Krishna appeared in front of Vishnu appeared in front of him, and then he had the Bhagavan realization, right? He started with the Karma Mishra Bhakt, right? He wanted a kingdom which is bigger than his great grandfather, bigger than Brahmaji. That is why he was looking to get. And then he did the Ashtanga Yoga. He realized Paramatma in his heart, but then he gets the Bhagavan realization. He sees the Lord, and then he goes back to the spiritual planet. He goes to the Vaikuntha planet. So they are definitely different. But again, if you two paths, you think the Lord is impersonal, go to Brahmajyoti. If you think the Lord is personal, you go to the Vaikuntha planet.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yes, Nikita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just want to add in response to Akhila Mataji's question, where she mentioned about Brahma Mohan Leela. I heard in one of the lectures where the Acharya Maharaj said that after that Leela, Brahmaji was feeling so much guilty that he requested to take a birth, and then he came as Namacharya Haridas Thakur, and then he accepted all the punishments in that lifetime. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Anatashish Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the wonderful class today. I really enjoyed your summarization of the 8th chapter. For me, the sequence of verse is something that I'm learning new in all these classes, and I was really appreciative of your explanation. I just had a couple of points where my understanding was a little different, so I thought I will offer that and correct myself if I'm wrong. One, my understanding about Lord Brahma's position, what I've heard is this Lord Brahma that we have is a pure devotee, and he will go back to Godhead. That is not necessarily so for any Lord Brahma. So that's what I've heard. He is doing creation, he is doing service, but in that position, they are also likely to think, I am doing it and forget Krishna. So, but what I've heard is that the current Lord Brahma we have is a pure devotee, as is proven through his prayers, and Krishna himself is confirmed in Bhagavatam. That is one. And on the topic of Brahmajyoti, if a person goes back to Brahmajyoti, again, my understanding is there are two categories of liberated people. One is Jivan Mukta, who is liberated within this body, and one who actually attains the Brahmajyoti. So according to Krishna's statement, one who attains the Brahmajyoti never comes back. But a person who is liberated within this body is likely to fall down from his liberated position. That's my understanding. Because Krishna also says, one who meditates in the 8th chapter, one who meditates on the Brahman, he goes back, and once he achieves my abode, he never comes back. So that statement cannot be false. So
yeah, I think I hear you, and I have this question too, but I have seen many purports from Prabhupada. It doesn't distinguish between Jivan Mukta and the Nitya Mukta. He says even the chances of falling down from Brahmajyoti is 99.99%. So I will.
So there is also a difference between Jivan Mukta and Nitya Mukta. A person who goes back to the spiritual world is not considered a Nitya Mukta. Nitya Mukta is a person who has never fallen down. He is always there.
Yeah.
But from one who has done his practice and who has gone back is probably a liberated person. He's a Mukta.
Yeah.
Anyway, I might be wrong, but I'll also.
It's a good question. Because yes, there's multiple places where he says he never falls down. But then I've seen Prabhupada's purports too. I think we should take this to Bihari Prabhu, saying what is that. But on the other aspect you mentioned about Brahmaji, that's also a good point. I did not know about that, but that seems to be true because yes, our Brahma is a pure devotee looking at his prayers and stuff. But do you remember where did you read this verse, Prabhu?
You know me and my ability to quote references.
So I don't know, Rupa Raghunath Prabhu, we should take that also saying if Bihari Prabhu knows the reference, just make sure that we get the right reference also.
I'll also do some homework. It's a good homework for me.
Thank you, Prabhu. But thank you, because I invite feedback because I'm just learning like you guys, and I am wrong also many times. Thank you. Anybody else? Ashutosh Prabhu, no, it's just a reaction there. Akhila Mataji.
Prabhu, first time I'm hearing about this Sandhya Kal, and so it's just to understand. So Manus are looking after, so the Manvantara is there. So Sandhya Kal, who's looking after? how should I understand that, Prabhu? Like this concept is new to me. So.
Yeah, there's just a gap. There is a bridge there, where there's no rain happening. But I don't know the details, what is happening in that, but it's like a gap. I don't believe the living entities are there, but I don't know what exactly happens during that.
There is a mention in Bhagavatam, at least in one place, where the Lord as Yajna came and controlled the time of change between one Manu to another. So I think there is some qualified person. If nobody is there, the Lord himself comes to manage the affairs. Again, I have to look up the reference.
Look at the reference, yeah.
Isn't that baby Krishna on the Vatasya Patrasya within the Sagar, like when we see that ocean, I somehow felt that is correlated because that is the time when it's all Sandhya Kal, everything is destroyed, destructed, and there's water everywhere. Maybe I'm wrong, but just thinking about the prayers where, yeah.
Yeah,
I just found the reference. It is Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 3rd chapter, 12th verse, where the list of incarnations are given. It says the 7th incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti, he controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. That is one reference.
Yeah, but Prabhu will it's again, I don't know the details, but during that Sandhya Kal, so the Lord is there, the living entities are there, and the Lord is managing all the affairs. Is that what the verse is saying?
No, that's not what the verse is saying. The verse is very specific. I'm not sure if this happens during every Sandhya Kal, but I just wanted to point out this reference.
Okay. Probably another detailed question.
lot of Bahari Prabhuji topic questions for sure. No,
Okay.
I think this is very good, Bhaktivinoda Prabhu. I'm also looking at the clock and just want to make sure we are not deviating from the topic of the chapter. So yes, thank you for elucidating the simple path and distinguishing from the difficult path, which is not relevant for this yuga. I've heard the analogy from Bahari Prabhuji, the elevator path and the staircase path. So even in the elevator, he was saying you don't have to press the button. Just be with the person, he will press the button for you and it automatically reach. So that's the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti path. But thank you so much for taking the time, taking the effort of your busy schedule and enlightening us with this wonderful complex chapter and simplifying it for us. I know devotees have a lot of questions. We will definitely discuss more on these topics when Prabhuji is back. And any last comments, Bhaktivinoda Prabhuji?
No, thank you for this service. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this. Thank you to Bahari Prabhu. And thank you for those wonderful questions. Definitely keep me in your prayers so I can understand the scriptures better and actually serve Guru and Krishna. That's the thing. Not just understanding scriptures, but serving Guru and Krishna. So thank you everyone. That being said, we'll say our prayers. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu vyaheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.